Hello everyone, I welcome you all once again to Unit 2 Reading C, The Brave Potter. When we look at this particular Reading C, The Brave Potter, it's a story, and as you know, being children, even being the grown up, I too like stories very much, and children have a strong love for stories that fire their imagination. Stories are a kind of imagination. You give vent to your imagination, you give a thought to your imagination, you give wings to your imagination, and then imagine different kinds of stories. So here, this is also an imagined story, and keeping aside whether it is true or not, if you come across the stories, you really love it, and then you love to read so many stories. You also can write stories. Very soon we will discuss about how to write a story, and then you can also feel or you can also think that the stories are very easy to be written. Here, Reading C includes The Brave Potter, which exactly does this, making the story all the more interesting. So, in the initial stage, I have told you about the imagination, to give fire to your imagination, and here Reading C, The Brave Potter also gives you wings to your imagination, or it just explores your imagination. So thus when you just look at this particular story, The Brave Potter, then you really understand how imagination works wonders with your mind. Here it is basically a Telugu story and was published by Margaret Sheik in English language. It was a Telugu story and it was being translated into English by Margaret Sheik, and then she has written it, giving some more beautiful elements to the story. And the story has lot of interesting turns in store for the readers, and moreover it is a humorous story. Since it is a humorous story, it has got so many interesting turns. If the story is serious, generally we don't find interesting, and moreover if the story is humorous, the children also love to watch, and even the elders feel free to read the stories in order to relax themselves. So it's a humorous story, and here generally when you talk about the stories, and nowadays especially as we just move into the world of movies, you just find whenever you read a story, whenever you just look at a video or anything else, you ask for a hero, and here a potter is the hero of this story. How the story went around this particular hero, the potter, and what did he do, why it became so famous, why it is humorous, what made it humorous, or what about this particular potter. So this will be the theme of this particular story, and now you will be really observing how this particular story is going to be more interesting. Yes, now it was a dark evening and the sky was full of clouds. As you know, very soon you would be venturing into the monsoon season, and thereby you find very strong winds, dark clouds, and then whenever you observe dark clouds, you feel that it is about to rain. And here in this particular context also, it was dark evening and the sky was full of clouds, and the people, those who watched at it, those who looked at it, they understood that it was about to rain. The rain was about to start. It was starting to rain, and an old tiger ran into the rain for shelter. And as a customary, if you are outside, when it is about to rain or when it rains, we just run for the shelter. We just don't stand in the rain and say, yeah, let it rain and I shall get wet myself. Of course, you may do it so, but very soon you get cold and you get so many other health problems. Especially in the cities, if you get wet, you get unnecessary dust into your body, that's it. So thus here It was starting to rain, and an old tiger ran into the rain for shelter. The tiger crawled under the thatched roof of an old hut and lay down near the door. Crawl down, crawl is to bend and then go into something else. And here the tiger was searching for a shelter, and then this tiger crawled under the thatched roof of an old hut and lay down near the door. It was an old woman's cabin that had a leak. You know, generally thatched roof, actually the palm leaves are covered for that hut. So that is what called as a hut. So the thatched leaves, the palm leaves, whenever they are broken, whenever they have some problem, it just leaks, or it is a kind of hole. Leak is a kind of hole, and that particular thatched roof, that particular hut had a leak, a kind of hole, leakage. And when the tiger began to fall asleep, he heard a woman's voice complaining that the leak in her hut was much more terrible than a tiger. And when the tiger, as it ran so long, the tiger became so tired and it was about to sleep. And as it was about to sleep, it suddenly heard a woman's voice, an old woman's voice, complaining that the leak in her hut was much more terrible than a tiger. The woman said, "This leak is terrible, much more terrible than a tiger." And the tiger heard it. As you know, tiger is a cruel animal, and everyone fears the tiger, and no one goes near the tiger. If tiger appears, we don't say, "Hello, shake hand." If you just do it so, you know very well what happens. So here, this old woman tells it is much more easier to meet a tiger rather than this leak. And the tiger started thinking about it. When the tiger heard his words, he thought the leak was a very dangerous and strong animal. This particular tiger did not really understand what this leak was. It did not understand that there was a hole and then it was the water was coming into the hut. But when it heard this new word, when the woman was very terribly afraid of this particular leak, it thought that maybe I am the tiger and the cruel animal, and this leak might be much bigger animal than me, which even frightens me. So that's what the tiger thought of it. And he doubted they all weren't afraid of him. Here, who started doubting? The tiger. The tiger thought, maybe these people are not really afraid of me, but to the leak. So thus, this does not frighten these people, or the tiger doesn't frighten these people. While these thoughts lingered in his mind, he fell asleep. This tiger started thinking all these things, who this leak might be, why this old woman is not really afraid of the tiger but about the leak. So then what will happen if all this takes place? If a leak comes out, what will happen? All these things the tiger was thinking so much. As he started thinking so much, since the tiger was really tired, it fell asleep. And as it fell asleep, what happened? And on the other side, now up to now, we only spoke about the tiger, the hut and everything. Now I already told you, the hero of this story is a potter. Up to now we did not talk about the potter. Now let us talk about the potter. You know, when the movie starts, the hero doesn't appear in the first itself sometimes. So he appears after some scene or after the flashback. Now it is a flashback kind of thing. Now you look at the potter appearing at this particular moment. Now, by the afternoon of that day, a potter had drunk more wine and no longer felt tired. The potter worked a lot all throughout the day. He felt so tired, and then the potter took some palm wine and started drinking. The more he drank, the lighter he felt. After some time, he no longer felt tired. He felt very happy, very energetic, and very drowsy also because of the alcoholic nature. And then when the rain started, he suddenly remembered that he had left his donkey tied under a tree. And as he was tired, he drank so much of palm wine and he was about to rest. And then he remembered that he tied a donkey outside his house in the rain. If it gets wet, it gets sick. If it gets sick, it will not be working the following day or the next day. So this particular potter went and then wanted to bring his donkey inside and tie the donkey in the house. Especially if you look in the villages, if you look at the villages, you have cattle shed. Generally in summer during the day we tie the cattle inside and then in the evening we tie it outside. In the rainy season we tie the cattle normal times outside. If it is raining we tie the cattle in the cattle shed. So this potter also wanted to tie the donkey inside so that the donkey doesn't get wet. And now here he rushed to the spot but couldn't find the donkey. Here it means the donkey. So he went there to the spot and wanted to find the donkey and bring the donkey inside and tie the donkey. But he did not find the donkey there. He started looking for it. He started searching where the donkey had gone. While searching, he often stumbled over fallen roots and branches. And he did not search only in his surroundings, in his house. He started searching all around. And for his ill luck, he had a forest just nearby his house. He started going into the forest. As you know, forest is very clumsy with all the roots, trees and everything. So this man, first of all, it is the dark time at night, and second, it was raining, so he couldn't see anything properly. So because it was all raining, he couldn't see even the way. So he was stumbling over the roots and branches and he was falling down. And as it was happening, the more he fell down, the more anger he got. You see, he felt angrier and wanted to give the donkey a good beating when he caught it. So he wanted to just give a very tight beating, very good beating to the donkey to teach a lesson so that the donkey will not go the next time. Next, he reached the old woman's hut and mistook the tiger for his donkey. In the process of searching for his donkey, he reached this old woman's hut and it was very dark. He found an animal lying there near the door, and this man thought, because he was drunk, he couldn't notice, and moreover it was very dark. So he just looked at the donkey and then he just looked at the tiger and mistook it to a donkey, and then he wanted to take it, and then he couldn't notice the difference between a donkey and a tiger because he had been drinking. So he had been drinking and he was intoxicated. So he didn't notice the difference between both. He kicked and beat the donkey, the sleeping tiger. See, he thought the tiger to be a donkey, and then he immediately jumped onto the tiger thinking to be a donkey. He kicked the donkey and beat the sleeping tiger. So since he thought to be the donkey, he just jumped onto the tiger and kicked the tiger and beat the tiger. And then here, after beating the tiger, kicking the tiger, what had happened? The tiger thought it must be the leak coming out of the hut. Now, the tiger didn't really notice that it was a man or something else, and it thought that it would be a leak coming out of the hut. The tiger already heard that the leak is much more terrible than a tiger. So the tiger, soon after looking at that particular person shouting, or the potter shouting, the tiger thought to be the leak, and then the tiger started heading towards the house without any sound. The tiger shuddered with fear and wanted to do as the leak said. Since the tiger was afraid, since the tiger already heard about the leak, the tiger started running. Though it was very tired, though it did not want to really run after a tiresome looking for the shelter, but the tiger was very much afraid. If he would stop, then the leak would kill him. So the tiger started running. He was very tired, though it was very tired, though it did not want to really run after a tiresome looking for the shelter, but the tiger was very much afraid. If he would stop, then the leak would kill him. So the tiger started running. He was very tired, though it was very tired, though it did not want to really run after a tiresome looking for the shelter, but the tiger was very much afraid. If he would stop, then the leak would kill him. The potter jumped on the frightened tiger's back, brought it home, and tied it with the iron chain. So when he brought home the potter, he thought his donkey would run away again. He tied it with iron chain so that it won't run away. And first the potter thought he would tie the donkey in his shed, but now he wanted to teach a lesson to the donkey, so he tied it outside to the pole so that it would have a very good lesson to be taught. And now the next morning, word spread throughout the village that the potter had caught a tiger and tied it to a tree in his yard. And the villagers have been trying to catch this particular tiger for so many days. And when they saw near the potter's house the tiger tied with an iron chain, then they understood that this potter was very brave, and they started talking to each other. Any news, nowadays we say viral news, breaking news. So it has become a breaking news that the potter had caught the tiger and tied it near his house. And then, but the potter couldn't understand how it all happened. Now the potter started questioning, I only caught my donkey and brought it home last night, and then I don't know how a donkey turned into a tiger. So that's what he was questioning all his people. They didn't believe him when they said he only brought his donkey home. So he started saying to all the people whomsoever woke him up, and then started telling to him that the tiger he brought, he only said, I only brought the donkey, and I don't know how a donkey has turned into a tiger. And the villagers even praised him for his modesty. So they started saying, he's a simple living person, though he did a very great thing, so he still did not accept that he did a great thing. So when all they were saying about, so he went near to the donkey, and when he saw the tiger, okay, and then he got afraid and then fell down there unconscious. So this is what was happening.